Welcome back to the Jurassic Park Podcast. I am Brad Jost, the host of the show, and today I wanted to give you guys some fun audio from episode 283, where I chatted with Shelby Honea and Greg Hall, the creative force behind VelociCoaster, Jurassic World VelociCoaster down at Universal Orlando. I had the chance to chat with them for a little while, learn about how they made the attraction, talk about their love for the franchise, and so much more. If you want the entire episode, like I said, go back and listen to number 283. But for now, let's take a listen to my conversation with Shelby and Greg.
Yeah. Oh, I just noticed your shirt when you stood up.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Thank you.
Representing.
I had to. I almost wore the hat, too. I was like, I'm going to go all out. I got the pin here. I've got posters all around me. So, yeah. I even got a map here. So, I'm good to go. So, Greg and Shelby, thank you so much for joining me today. But before we dive into Jurassic World VelociCoaster, I do have a very difficult question. I really want you guys to answer this. Hopefully you can. If you were stuck in a kitchen with a velociraptor, what would you do, and would you make it out alive?
I think naturally I would do what was in the movie. I would hide under anything I could hide so I could think. I have to process everything that's happening to me, and I would probably listen out for the toe taps and try to figure out spatially where the velociraptor is. But I don't know what I would do after that. I think I'll find out once I find out from that stage.
Yeah. How about you, Shelby?
I mean, perhaps controversial. I don't see me making it out of there, but I would definitely similarly hide. But not particularly quick.
Yeah,
they're pretty intelligent, so who knows? Maybe trying to talk it out might work. Like, wait,
what are they going to throw at us? Yeah.
Don't eat me, please.
Let's mitigate the situation.
What do you really want?
They just want some rats. Just have a pocket full of rats that you can throw at them at all times.
I'll get you the rats, okay? It's over here. You don't want me.
So bring us back to your first details. Like, I want to know about your histories with the film franchise. Are you both longtime fans of Jurassic Park?
Oh, definitely. I think I remember first time watching Jurassic Park, and I'm really big in visual effects, and I have a background studying that. And the Jurassic Park film was just way beyond its time. It really just set a new precedent for it. So you're just like, and it still holds up today. It's still like you can watch it today, and you just wonder, how did they do that so long ago. And so I think it was really inspirational and just something to learn from and study on, storytelling, how to make timeless memories, quotes, and just filmmaking in general. It was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was definitely one of those first films that all of my siblings, and we had a little bit of a good age span, we all loved this movie and were obsessed with this movie. I think a weird sense memory I have is, oh gosh, you probably have one of these, but there's a toy that had the little broken pieces off of the dinosaur that you had to heal, and I loved the idea that you were taking care of the dinosaur. And I remember the tail and holding onto the tail so vividly, and paint being off of it, because I just carried this dinosaur with me for a long time.
Yeah, I have one of those right behind me. The Triceratops has a wound that just pops out.
Pop it off, yeah.
Yeah, it's super gory in there, but it's it was a kid's toy. It's all fun. But yeah, the toys are the thing for me that really kept the franchise alive, and through that 14-year gap between Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World. So I appreciate that. That's good. Bring us back to the inception of this attraction, because I know throughout all the plans, this was originally intended to be a churro stand, right? But after that concept, what was the vision that you had for this? Did it take a while to get to VelociCoaster, or were there anything else in your mind there?
Oh, you want to go? So, man, we knew that we had to bring something big to the park. The guests actually asking for something big, a big thrill coaster. And, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World were just a perfect fit for that, just to bring the next iconic, Universal Islands of Adventures attraction. And
Mhm.
we just really wanted to lean into that and bring, the thrill to the park on another level, and bring teeth to the park, really celebrate the Jurassic land, and, have like more dinosaurs, and, and respect the environment. So, it just was a perfect blend. It was exciting because, this is perfect for our brand. We make the thrill rides, we make the rides that are a rite of passage. And Jurassic is so huge, reaches so many people of different demographics, and even us as designers are fans.
Mhm.
So it was just the most fun attraction to work on.
Yeah, and I think going to your point about what it started as or what it ended up, it all kind of fell into place very beautifully and very quickly and very organically. I think I have used the Dr. Wu metaphor a few times, but it's like the DNA strand was just flying together of all these pieces that it kind of had to be. We knew it had to be thrill, we knew it had to be immersive. We told ourselves we wanted this to be Jurassic World centric, so really focus on the Raptors. So at a certain point, it just like was what it was meant to be really early on, which also kind of made it fun for us as part of the process, because we really were experiencing, and Greg makes these beautiful pre-visualization animatics. So we were writing literally the ride that people are experiencing right now this summer, gosh, years ago, 2018.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great that you brought up Dr. Wu there, because I have this quote here. Back in Jurassic World, Simon Mizrahi, the owner of the park, sends this memo to Dr. Wu about wanting something, bigger, scarier, cooler. And I got a good sense of how you've brought that to life with VelociCoaster. It's pretty obvious, but could you fill us in on some of those details that maybe you amplified, kind of like Dr. Wu did with the dinosaur, but you amplified those traits from a common coaster into something much more monstrous? What were some of those elements that you needed in this attraction to make it bigger, scarier, and cooler?
Well, I think what I'll start with is the parallels to Dr. Wu do not stop there. Again, those memos of more teeth, and us as theme park designers were like, how do we make it bigger? So for us, our kind of key design principles and how we approach this attraction, Greg kind of touched on it, but teeth, we always wanted to make sure that the dinosaurs were front and center, had to be dinosaurs in our dinosaur park, and that is a challenge on a 70-mile-per-hour coaster. Thrills were the next really, really important thing, and we wanted to make sure that none of these things were compromising each other, but actually elevating each other. Mm-hmm. So yes, always pushing the thrill. And then the third thing being the environment, and this beautiful, immersive Jurassic World environment. And that's everything from the beautiful paddock of rockwork all the way to these kind of cool, immersive environments we've made even within the queue. And then the bigger theme of, man believing they can control nature and the ultimate power of nature, and trying to have that play out over the span of our queue as well. We've got the really, really harsh engine, art direction, and then you've got the natural world that belongs to the Raptors. So, we had a lot of fun to play with. So those are definitely our DNA strands, if you will.
Yeah, and then the elements that we put in the actual attraction, we wanted to bring new, modern. This ride's coming out. It came out in 2021. We're in the future. So let's introduce new elements that even the audience that comes to the park have never seen before. And a lot of the team are coaster enthusiasts. There's even our operations manager has ridden over 650 roller coasters.
Oh,
so the bar was high. Everyone had passion. This element has to be in there. This extend this element, like the inverted stall that goes 110 feet upside down over the guest pathway. And then we have the Mosasaurus roll, which is arguably, well, it's not even arguably, like the enthusiasts, including us, think is one of the best versions of all time. And and it's funny because you're going through rock work, going through a building 150. At the moment we wondered, wait, did we go too far? Because none of us have rolled anything like it. We designed it, but we really didn't know what it was like, until the day test rode it. So even that day, we all were nervous because it wasn't like, oh, it's just like this ride over here. It's just like this ride. It was more like no one really knows how this is going to turn out. So
That's amazing. It sounds like, yeah, like all of our roller coaster tycoon dreams come true, like building the most crazy thing ever and then having it come to life. It's beautiful. So you mentioned some of the rock work and cool parts of the attraction itself. Was it difficult to kind of convince like everybody at maybe Universal Pictures and stuff like that, hey, we're going to have a roller coaster that's going to go through a raptor paddock? Like, is that hard to convince people about that?
Go ahead, Greg.
Surprisingly, wasn't that hard. Actually,
No.
surprisingly,
No.
we were nervous. We were like,
Yeah.
man, there's no roller coaster in the movie. How are they gonna react to this? And so we stayed true to the different tenets that Shelby was mentioning. The actual DNA of what makes a Jurassic film, whether it's Jurassic Park or World. We wanted to make sure those things were represented in the ride. So that gave us the confidence to back up the decisions that we made and explain that when we showed it to them in person. So they had their plan already and set. So when we were talking about why we have this kind of element, and we had Jurassic Park in the land already, and this is a Jurassic World attraction. So there was certain things that we had to kind of decisions that we had to make sure that everything complemented each other. So they were aligned with us actually when we showed them our solutions for that. So we were surprised. It was actually a great meeting, and they love the thrill. They love all that stuff. They love the intense stuff. So it was a pretty awesome meeting.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting pitch of like, they know the can obviously, but yeah. So Claire is putting a roller coaster in the Raptor paddock, and like, wait, beat, continue. Like, it did feel kind of like definitely very in keeping with the characters, and I think that's what's so fun about it. The one line elevator pitch. If you know the canon, it definitely feels right.
Oh my! It felt so right. Like watching that cue video with Claire and Owen just bickering back and forth. You could sense their relationship that you just got a small glimpse of at the beginning of Jurassic World when they're out at his bungalow talking about their previous dates and whatnot. You can get that like sense of relationship there, and it works so well. And I love that like Owen is the guy who's like, no, this shouldn't be a thing. I loved that because like when I was talking about this on the podcast before, I was like, how are they going to pull this off in a way that feels right and feels natural? And that's how you did it. You said like, well, Owen's a detractor. He always is. He's kind of like the Ian Malcolm of these new movies where he's just like, guys, no, don't do this.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, what's funny is like when we decided roller coaster in the Raptor paddock, we had to just lean into that and never go back. It's like, this is what we're doing. We're here now. So they really performed great.
I have a question here from Twitter. This comes from @MuzzShake07, and it says, if you could have any other animal somewhere in the course of the track, what would it be?
Another animal. There's a couple of animals that come to my mind. So now you're making me choose between like I have to pick one. Like which one?
And not an osprey, not an osprey, but like something.
Another animal. I mean, I like pterodons and things like that. Those are pretty cool. Like cool elements like that. And then Shelby, what you think?
You said osprey, and so it's hard not to say, it'd be great to have, if we could, birds and pterodactyls would be fantastic to have in a true fantasy world.
So I think there's some eggs right up on the top of the rock work. What was the intention there? Were those supposed to be like pteranodons or something like that?
Yeah, this is actually a fun story to those eggs that. When we're working on the rock work during the summer, we were working real fast, and the whole world's watching us build this churro stand, and there was a day that we were just taking down all this scaffolding, so we were just like, it'd be really awesome to put some eggs up there. So, so everyone worked like everyone took a breather. It was hot during the summer and sculpted the eggs and like researched and really dove into how they would look
That's
you
amazing.
know and we got the eggs up there and it's right next to pterodon flyers and it just made sense. It helps blend the land together.
Yeah.
It was funny because the next day it was just all over the internet. Someone had found the eggs.
I love it. It perfectly ties it all together. How important was it to set this attraction like before the Indominus breakout? Because the Indominus breakout has been this focal point for so many different things, whether it's exhibition or live tour or something like that. But you guys actually didn't go that route. You actually went beforehand. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so my thought on that, and Greg, I'm sure you have your own, but I think for us, it's the fact that we're also very aware of what's going on globally at Universal Parks. And, we've got the Jurassic World, the ride in Hollywood that really delivers on this Indominus moment. And, wanting to be respectful of that beat, but also for us knowing that we are a few years after the first movie, and it actually feels like the Raptors are kind of becoming the through line of the Jurassic World trilogy. So making sure, I think we wanted to really highlight them as rather than a snapshot in time with the Indominus Rex. The Raptors really lend themselves to a roller coaster, really lend themselves to this area. So really, I think it was more about the characters we wanted to highlight.
Yeah, the Raptors are alive.
Yeah, I love that you brought them back to life, except for Blue. The other ones have just been thrown, tossed, eaten, whatever, blown up with a rocket launcher. So it's good to have them back in real life next to you as you blow by them on the coaster.
Yeah, it just fit. It fit with the land, the space that we were working with, and it helps bring new fans to the franchise and kind of inform them, and they're able to dive deeper. There's a lot of clues, there's a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of things that when people see, they could go home and research more and learn more about it. And that's what we like about the queue. It's a deeper dive into the Raptors, where you could see the tools that were used to take care of the Raptors, as well as things that were used to train the Raptors as they were getting older, that the film really couldn't dive deep into because there's a movie and it's a certain amount of time. Something that was really awesome when we were talking to the filmmakers is that when we were talking about the paddock, we realized this was the first time ever in the franchise's history that the Raptors were on public display. Like, they've been in the films and they've broken out of things, but actually on public display. So how would that look for a real guest to see that in the park? And we got to explore that and problem solve and really come up with a look for that, and it was fun for them as well as us to really give a deeper dive into these awesome iconic characters.
Yeah, that's true. That's awesome that you got to showcase something we've never seen before. I really appreciate it. Were the likes of like Colin and Steven Spielberg and Frank Marshall, were they tied to this project a little bit? Did they help out in some ways?
Yeah, absolutely. Our relationship with Universal Pictures was really, really important. They know these films. They know the future of the films. They know these Raptors better than anyone. So, we worked very regularly, specifically with Colin and Frank on VelociCoaster.
Speaking of the future, you mentioned Easter eggs and stuff like that. I did hear a rumor that the Malcolm book that's in the queue, is that something from Dominion? Is that true or false? What's the deal there?
Yes. So we also found ourselves in a really interesting spot that the next film is coming. Dominion. Could have been this summer.
I know.
Could have been.
We wanted to make sure we had something that made tied into where we really were in the development, which is that we were building this attraction right alongside the pre-production and ultimately the filming of Dominion. So we did work to get that little Easter egg in there. It is a mystery to us how it's utilized, but they did share it with us.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. A lovely detail that I love from the attraction is in the queue, there's those amazing posters that you see that are actually like from Jurassic World. And those things, I've had them, actually have mine like sitting right here. I gotta hang them back up, but like
Nice.
I've had these things since 2015. I got them from Barnes and Noble, from like buying a DVD, and I was like, I never expected, first off, to then see one of those in Fallen Kingdom, and now to see them on hand at the attraction. Like, that's really cool. How did that come about? How did you come about like creating these new posters and kind of tying it into those old ones?
We really want to respect the franchise and take it serious. So, the ride's called VelociCoaster, and we just didn't want it to be a punchline. We wanted to show them that, hey, this is a real serious roller coaster, and we have the actors, we have people who worked on the films working with us. Frank Marshall, Colin Trevorrow, Steven Spielberg. This is a serious attraction, and even to the smallest detail, we wanted to make sure that it was represented. So, we had those posters in there just for a sense of place of where you are, and then we had the brand new posters, sneaking ourselves into those posters to say, hey, we've always been here, okay? VelociCoaster's in the background, you see it? And and it's pretty awesome to see how appreciated that was doing that, making that decision.
Yeah. I love those the new posters. I have them here as well. They're pretty awesome. I can't wait to put everything up on my wall.
Nice.
So I think I want to talk about the real star of this attraction outside the Velociraptors, Mr. DNA. Come on. I mean, you've resurrected him, and like, who did the voice? What was the deal with Mr. DNA? How important was it to include Mr. DNA?
So I think for us, Mr. DNA, so again, and I think you can see it through this attraction, as theme park designers, part of why this entire franchise is so fun to play in is that it is a trope of theme park design while we are also designing a theme park ride about the trope about theme park design. So we have so much fun with that kind of really playing with those pieces of theme park nostalgia. And Mr. DNA is so fun because he is the operational voice of what we see in Jurassic Park. There was obviously some inclusion of him he had been modernized a little bit for Jurassic World and some of the peripheral, I think, games and a few other things. So there was precedence for him to exist in the Jurassic World timeline. Because we are an operating attraction, there are a lot of things we have to convey to our guests, like how to load, how to, keep your head against the headrest, keep your hands on the handlebars. So finding the voice that can deliver that, but also make it fun and compelling to watch, and like you want to watch it, and like this is truly safety information to be getting at Jurassic World. He's the only answer. So fortunately, again, not that hard to sell. We did work with them. We went around and around to find an approved Mr. DNA, and we're really pleased with where it is, and we're really happy that people are responding to it and focusing on it.
We searched thousands for the perfect Mr. DNA.
I love it.
Yeah, I remember the first time watching Mr. DNA in the film, and it was like, from my memory, it was always like a friendly character, but then it was like a kind of intimidating tone to the actual message, and that was. It was like, we have to get that. We have to capture that. The awesome thing about having a real roller coaster that you're standing in the queue is you hear the rumble, you hear the screams. So the intimidation's there. And, as you go through the queue, it gets more and more intimidating. You start off with this corporate kind of sizzle reel, everything's great. But then as you go through, it gets darker, you have the lighting changing, and then you still have that positive message, but you hear boom, 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 boom right next to you. So, Mr. DNA was, we had to capture that essence into the queue. We just had to, and coming up with the look for him and everything, it was just a fun experience.
Yeah, I also appreciate the Mattel toys that ended up in like the control tower where Claire was. I spotted them instantly. I see them. I'm like looking all around the background. I spot like different dinosaurs that I have on my shelf behind me. I'm like, that's awesome. That is like a nice touch. That's wonderful.
Yeah, we even snuck even snuck the miniature VelociCoaster next to that. We've been here the whole time.
Yeah, we need to be able to buy like the actual, like the little coaster, so we can put our Mattel figures in there at some point. Come on,
it'd be a great scale. Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, you mentioned the like the setting, the tone that you're setting in the queue and stuff, and Dr. Wu is in there, and he's trying to be nice. He's giving you a positive message, it seems like at times, but there's always something behind him. How important was it to like balance that like semi-evil but like good-natured guy that you know from the movies?
I think with the journey through the queue of VelociCoaster is really interesting because we're also playing with that natural anxiety experience as you are going through the queue of a coaster, about to get on a coaster, and your heartbeat getting a little bit faster as you can see the load station. And so, bring it back to Mr. DNA, the lightest, the most corporate, the most fun, and then Dr. Wu kind of being that middle step where he's trying to walk a corporate line, but he's definitely, when he's recording this, it's safe to assume he has the Indominus Rex in some phase of development, his masterpiece, so there is definitely something there. And then, I think we played a lot with his character, and even speaking with what would be authentic to his character with Universal Pictures. And, he does have an arrogance and a kind of pride towards everything he does. And that would definitely be the case here in VelociCoaster. It was a lot of fun. You think, Greg?
Yeah. You have to have the Dr. Wu in there. I mean, he's been in every film, and so he has to be in our ride. And the thing is like you see him definitely right before you actually see the raptors and their muzzles. So he really kind of goes back to that room where you're learning about the raptors, what it took, his obsession with his accomplishment, and kind of understanding like, hey, like these are real raptors. This is the real deal. And when you go into the next room, you're ready, and you're just blown away when you see those things. Just breathe, and you can feel the breath from them. You can smell them, and it just really pulls everything together.
So with those animatronics right there, are you working hand in hand with other companies like producing Jurassic World the exhibition? Because they have a very similar thing there. I don't know if it's exactly the same or not, but it was cool to see those in the exhibition and then also see something similar here.
There's a lot of people all around the world bringing dinosaurs to life, which is really awesome and fun to see. And a lot of time we're watching as well on Twitter, these different things pop up as well as the exhibit. But yeah, we do try and, work very closely to fit our needs of our attraction and our story that we're trying to tell with whatever pieces of show we develop, and especially the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I love that, and I love how you blend the coaster zooming by with the raptors on the windows there. It's beautiful, and it you can watch the videos online, but it doesn't really sell it as well as like seeing it there in person. It's just beautiful in person.
Yeah, we can only do that here. We're like, we have a 70-mile-per-hour coaster going through a building. They have to see this. And then how we plus that anymore? Like, when are we going to have this opportunity to have raptors chasing a 70-mile-per-hour? This is it. This is our only window to do something like this. So, and that's why it was so awesome working with Jurassic, the Jurassic franchise, because it just gave us reasons to just push the boundaries and not go backwards, and just really say, hey, we're going to do it because it's necessary.
Yeah. I have another question from Twitter from Siaka Dibba, and it says, how did you make those raptor statues? I'm assuming he's talking about the ones in the ride, or maybe the queue. I don't know. Did you have reference to ILM assets?
We use the film assets. So, all the raptors that you see, they're, the same assets that were in the film animated and things like that, and it's to the point that there's actual Easter eggs even beyond just the statues. We just mentioned the raptors running by the window, and there's different moments where it stops and looks at you, and some of those are the same animations that you see in the original film when it's looking through the little round window. We pulled things from the archive that really, for the serious fans, they're going. I mean, I remember I was in the queue and someone recognized that it was the same like archived animation, and I was like, "Oh my God, you're the first person to notice that." I was so happy for him. So it was like, it's cool. There's we just want to make sure it's authentic as possible, and from the statues outside the attraction and inside the actual attraction, to the media, it's all the real assets from the film.
Was there any difficulty in bringing Echo to life? Because over time, Echo has changed, like the way Echo looks, whether it's, the films, the toys, the Camp Cretaceous. Like, was there any difficulty there? Because it's an ever-changing dinosaur, it seems like.
I think it was a really interesting challenge as a whole, because a lot of the adult versions of these dinosaurs, and I know the Amber collection and these other things were kind of going on in parallel, but there hadn't really been, a true representation of Charlie, Delta, or Echo. And so it was really interesting. We worked really, really closely, again, with the filmmakers to make sure, and they were with us every step of the way. And in a lot of ways, we were actually kind of working in parallel, and we found this really great asset. Like, the screenshots a really good one, and we were going back and forth to try and populate, who these dinosaurs really were in a 3D space. But yeah, poor Echo.
Yeah, it's funny. Universal Pictures actually flew someone down, and that was actually a conversation about Echo and stuff like that. Oh, and we went it was perfect for the paddock. Echo's a lot brighter, and we're moving so fast. You want to be able to see the Raptors. So, the brighter version of Echo is definitely in the paddock.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it even looks like a new version this time, and I loved it. I loved how cool it looked, because there's so many different iterations at this point, and you guys got a good one, so that's good. All right, so I'll go with the last question here. This is also from Twitter. It's from @JurassicSouls. And it says, I wonder when and where they filmed the Q videos and what it was like to be a part of that portion of it. Hey, you guys were even in it, right? In one of the videos. So
that was so fun.
Yeah, they were spread out over, a pretty long period of time, and we were really, really lucky that we got all of our production in prior to 2020. So it was really just, in and out of people's schedules, what worked, and again, globally. So we've got the Hollywood ride and some of these other things. So there were some great efficiencies there that Universal Creative leveraged to be able to get some of these really awesome stars. But yeah, it was just all over the course of mostly 2019.
Yeah, we filmed on the Universal lot in Hollywood, so that was pretty awesome. And just the chemistry of using the real actors it was so perfect. They know each other so well. I was mind blown actually seeing them work. Like they just they filmed that together in real time, so they're actually talking to each other. It wasn't like, oh, someone's over here, someone's over here. Like, that was a real conversation. Like, and it's like one take. It's one take. So it was so cool. And
it seems so natural. The way they were working off each other. At times, I'm like, is that just like improv? Like, because the way that they're responding to each other just works so well and naturally. I love that.
Some of it was. Some of it was improv. Like, they read the script, got it.
It's the simplicity of the space we created, right? Where it's a roller coaster in the Raptor paddock. Claire thinks this is the best idea ever. Owen hates it. It's just like, it was fun for them too, because they're like, oh, got it. Yeah, perfect. Let's roll. So it was amazing.
The Raptor's right here, right? The Raptor's right here. And then they'll start. That was so cool.
I love it. Awesome. I love it. Okay.
Oh, I was just gonna say, not to shred some movie magic, but Greg and I, the day that we were filming, obviously with Chris and Bryce, we were very actively running around a set. Greg providing direction. So the part where we are in was filmed much later. We were not running around in tactical gear.
Yeah, we were there with them when they filmed that, but we were comped in later in another film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still have the vest. So I wanted to walk around the park one day with the little shock sticks and vest, but no one would know what I'm doing. So
you gotta grab Michael one day and walk the parks, as Owen and with the shock sticks and stuff. That would be good.
Just like random ACU unit, like, who is this guy? Why is he what ACU?
What is it?
It would be awesome. Everybody would love that. But again, I just want to say thank you so much, because this attraction is incredible. I've gone on it a few times myself, and I love it so much. Can't wait to go back again. It really breathes new life, I think, into this land and makes it somewhere where you want to go there and spend hours now in this section and buy all the merch and ride the ride over and over again, spot all the Easter eggs. It is so much fun. So just thank you for creating something that Jurassic fans can get excited about and truly celebrate. So thank you.
Oh no, that means a lot. We did it we studied everything, and we followed like just like the Jurassic fans were following the ride, and the forums were following them. Like, all right, yeah, we gotta make sure this is there. So it just means a lot. The love that it's getting. So definitely.
No, absolutely, and just hearing more people it's amazing how the fanfare is keeping up even over the summer. So glad we could be that little dose of Jurassic for the summer.
Yeah, and you guys have become part of the fandom. I love that. So thank you for interacting with everybody and just, like selling this ride so well. And you're a big part of the community now. So you better stick with it. We expect you to be there. So
we're here.
I love that.
We're here.
Not going anywhere.